Thank you, Ron. And happy to be here. Thank you, everyone, for taking your time. Very much appreciated. Thank you, Ron, for giving us this opportunity as well. So today, I'm going to talk to you guys about what is Azure AI and what are we doing and how are we doing and how can you guys all take advantage of this platform and build your digital transformation journey for your company, right? So my name is Bala. I'm a cloud solutions architect. I work mostly on the data and AI domain is what I do, and I do a lot of digital transformation project. So let's talk about that. This is my intro, and there is an email over there. If you guys want to reach out to me, reach out through Ron or me, no problem. So what is Microsoft AI, right? I mean, you all have already heard a lot about AI going across everywhere. We are taking a different stance on AI. As you can see, like a lot of companies with the COVID situation and in recent days have amplified their AI digital transformation journey all on a sudden. But most of the big Fortune 500 companies have been using AI for the last few years, actually. They've been testing it, they've been trying to figure out how they can use AI to improve their processes or build new products, and a lot of different ways they're looking at AI. Now, how did Microsoft start, right? I mean, we always start through our own research process. So if you look at it, AI is not really new to Microsoft because they've been doing it for like about more than 25, 30 years. And how do we start is like, if you look at, we have R&D centers across the globe, right? And you can see like we develop FPGA inside our in-house, and then the speech recognition from MSR came. We had machine translation, human parity from MSR as well. The work is going on conversational Q&A, which is also coming up to a human parity. Object detection has been one of the best things that we have done. Lots and lots of research on using vision-based technology, right? So we do all this research. What does it matter? So we took that research and we used it into our products. You can see like most of our AI that inside that we do was making into Bing. Office 365 is something most of you would know. And then Xbox, like especially in PowerPoint, there is a feature that you can say like, give me design ideas. And that basically is done through machine learning, right? And then Xbox, of course, the gaming whole industry to improve the gaming personality, AI is being machine learning and AI is extremely used over there. Okay, now let's talk about what is Azure AI. So we took our research, we built into our products, but we also made it available for others to consume and build and innovate in their own way. So we have these three pillars in Azure AI. This basically the first one is machine learning. Machine learning will include deep learning, reinforcement learning, and things like that. AI apps and agents. This is our matured AI products that it's already up and running, and we can easily consume using REST interfaces. And the agents is basically the bot framework, the next generation UI that you can make it more of a conversation rather than click or uh, writing commands and things like that. Knowledge mining is an area that is actually getting it's kind of a little new. There are two new things in machine learning and knowledge mining I'll go deep into. Knowledge mining is about like building a search capability, but with AI inbuilt on it. So we can actually read through PDF file, images, videos, build insights from there, and allow it through a search capability. Now, knowledge mining exposes as REST API, so you can integrate it with most of like any websites or even into your existing applications, and a lot of integration points for that. Now, not that being said, the knowledge mining also has like PII detection, and we call it skills. And there are a lot of skills available: custom vision skill, text skill, sentiment skill, entity parser, and PII detector, and things like that that you can use. So which means when you're building those indexes, you're using AI to get insights from different format files, different sources, and then you're building your own indexes. That being said, let's go deep dive into machine learning. So machine learning, what we are trying to do is we are trying to build a comprehensive, this is already there, most of it. We call it Azure Machine Learning Services, if you're looking up. Now, this platform is meant to be built for data scientists and data engineers and or AI engineers, and also to be able to do the entire data cycle, life cycle processes, right? We should be able to develop, train, test, validate, and then also able to deploy and consume the model. I mean, we can always build a model, but what is the point if we can't utilize that model? And the model has to be integrated with other systems to really see a business value. So we're looking at in different pillars, like for all skill levels, for the ML side of it, industry leading ML ops is the newest thing that we are looking at. We have always worked on this the open standard is what we are always been using. I'll show you why. And of course, Microsoft is always one of we operate on trust. That's a very key thing. And you can see like 1 million experiments per month are already being done. But what does that mean? It's like, so we have this comprehensive single workspace concept that allows us to do any level of data science development. If you are very good at doing Python or R code, you have notebooks that you can work around with. If you want to do you like drag and drop designing too, we have a designer for that. If you're saying like, no, I don't know how to do both of those, but I wanted to just upload the data set and let the model tell me like, I mean, what is the best algorithm to use with the highest score, you can do that as well. And you also have the development lifecycle process. Like you can see an example here, how to create an experiment for auto ML. You just click and go selecting, and then you're gonna click start, and it is gonna run. It is gonna give you the score. You can, and we'll walk you through this, the whole process, and I'll show you like how it is. I can also show you a demo. Now this one also has the drag and drop interface that I was talking to you about. This is very interesting for citizen data scientists. If you are new to it, you want to try and get familiarized it, this is an awesome tool. Now, not only that, we also are decoupling our compute and storage as well. This is for the more detailed data scientist who wants to write in Jupyter Notebook, Python or R. Python is the first SDK that we came out with. So a lot of references are available for Python. Now, this platform not only allows you to develop, but I'll also show you how we are using the DevOps, and also the workspace as options for you to deploy the model as an AKS cluster, and you can actually bring it up as a REST API. At that point, you can actually integrate it with other systems. Okay, so let's talk about what is MLOps. The MLOps is nothing but machine learning. You're doing the data science part, and then you want to combine operations together. There is in most of the machine learning, there are two forms. One is in terms of DevOps, is like one is retraining the model and retraining it. The other one is for scoring scenario. Retraining is basically like you're rebuilding the model. Scoring scenario is where like all the other systems are consuming. So there are two parts that goes into production usually when you're working on AI and machine learning. And how can we automate that? That is also valid, and we have tools for that as well using the DevOps. So let's go a little bit deep. What is that MLOps? MLOps is, I was telling in the before, we want to concentrate on the end-to-end data science lifecycle platform, right? So that means we should be able to build the model, validate the model, deploy the model, and able to retrain and keep it going for production purposes. There are a few features like data drift and all available. We'll see that. So what do we do in DevOps? Usually it's code and then testing the code and then creating the deployment file. Now, what do we add extra to it? We're going to add all these options extra to it, which is model reproducibility, model validation, model deployment, and model training. Right? This is our basic generic flow that we have. Okay, now let's talk about how we are doing it. So the workspace has different, you can actually split different personas like data scientist or data engineer. There is also options to do role-based access control and specify like the data science person can do more machine learning, bring in sources. The data engineer can have only like notebook access, things like that. Now, say if you're an Azure developer, what you're going to do? Um, you in the beginning you have nothing to do, right? But first the data scientist comes in the picture and they actually build the model for you, and that life cycle itself is an iterative process. um, it's a little different for AI. If you're building a custom AI, especially using these tools, it's like you need a lot of data. Usually it's opposite around. The development doesn't have a lot of data, the production environments have data. But here it is a little different. It's going to be the opposite other way around. We need a lot of data in development, and they're going to go through iteration process, and they can save that in a code repo like GitHub. And then what happens is like we can automate the DevOps developer comes in, and he can help you automate the training process, the validation process, and then create the deploy model as well. So the train and validate, you kind of have to both do together. That's how you get the value of it. And then we deploy it, and then you get the feedback loop of how the model is behaving, if there is any data drift or the model's accuracy is going down. Let's go sit and figure out what's happening. And if that is the case, then enable retraining pipeline. We can do all of those things, and you can also automate it, right? And we also enable everything through the GUI interface, and we also have this through the SDK as well. So to basically to summarize this, right? I'll show you a demo. And before we go there, this open platform concept, when I was talking about, if you look at it, we use all Python, we use R, which is open source standards. And then we are also using Onyx runtime. This is more for the scoring side of it. We are also built the whole thing based on the ML flow support. And Azure has some open data sets that we can always consume. Now I showed you so many things, right? So let's look at what I am talking about. Here is our, can you guys see the screen?
Yeah, I can see the screen where you've got the Microsoft Azure machine learning.
Perfect. Okay. So this is our studio, our new studio. If you actually look at it, you can see the notebooks. This is the notebook interface that we have. And this is the automated ML interface that we have, and the designer as well. I was going to take a little time to load. Now let's go and let me show you the DevOps side of it. So the biggest challenge is we put a lot of effort in the operation space, making sure that we can automate it. So we have integrated this with our Azure DevOps. The code that I'm using in this demo is pulled from a GitHub repo. I can give you this repo. You guys can, if you want, play around with it, do your own hackathons or workshops, no problem. You can take that code and okay, let me show you the DevOps part first. And you can create your own pipeline. Here is your pipeline. And when you build the pipeline, this is basically you're doing the code building. And you can see like I built the code and I ran this today morning. This one, if you look at the steps in here, it'll actually build a Docker container. It'll test it. It's using all open source tools and utilities behind the scene. I'm using Python 3.6 for this, and then it'll build it out and it'll produce artifacts. Now that artifacts is now ready to be deployed, which means there is an let me go back here. If you see the experiment got ran, right? And I'm running that from DevOps, and it pops up in the screen here. So you can see, like, you can go back and forth between these two, and you can see like what it ran, and every run, what was the statistics behind it, and what was the output that it came, all the logs and metrics. We also added this new feature called explanation, which is basically telling you like how the model performed. We use that open source library called SHAP to know that, okay, which feature actually had the greatest importance and which ones we can actually get rid of it. And also you can see which one significantly impacted as well. So those are all available in here. And then when you do the build, it actually is going to train the model, create a pickle file. If you're a Python, Skykit, it's mostly using Skykit libraries in here. And it is going to create like this image file. This image is nothing but basically the pickle file with the artifacts. And what let me go back. So that is this build process. Now let's come to the release process. What do we do in release? So release is basically taking the code and then rerunning the training and rebuilding the pickle file, and it is going to create a scoring file, and then what it is going to do is it is going to deploy as a REST endpoint. Now, this deployment of REST endpoint, if you come back here, this might tell you it's going to take this particular model, and then it is going to build a Docker container with a Python. It's Flask-based REST system, and it's going to actually deploy it as inside an AKS container, and it is going to enable it as a REST API. Now this REST API has got security as well. The default one actually uses the key code, but you can actually write your own AD based if you want, or your own authentication as well. And if you look at it, like it ran training, it is publishing, and it is deploying it in AKS. But where did it all go? So if you look at this compute section here, you have training. The compute cluster is called the training cluster, and then you have the inferencing cluster. So this is very dynamic. So we can orchestrate all of these in the SDK itself. So you don't have to come and do this, create a cluster first and assign it. You can also do that, but you don't have to do that. All the code can actually build a cluster here, and it can actually create. See in here, it will actually check your, if there is an inference cluster found. If there is not a cluster found, create a new inference cluster, AKS, right? So I came here, if you look at inference, I didn't have it, so it created it. If it is already there, you can use your own AKS cluster as well. Now, these services are made to be secured, so we can actually put it in a private VNet, no problem. But you still have to allow us to make sure that the platform maintenance capability are allowed for us to come in and do our maintenance and things like that. Now, here is an interesting thing in what is new here. Now we have decoupled the coding and execution, right? The reason why is like you can write your code and you can actually use this training cluster here, which means I can parallelize here. So I'm not bounded by one virtual machine and how much it can go up to. I can come here and say like start with 0 nodes and go to 100 node, 1000 node as far as you have budget to pay for it. Now, you can ask me why I have 0 in here. 0 means it will shut down all the nodes after the training is done. If you put minimum 1, at least it'll keep one node up and running. As we use Python methodology inside, there is a step called parallel step check and see that will automatically can parallelize your code, but you can also use Dask and few other framework here. By default, we will split based on the data, and then we'll split it to the clusters, chunk of data. So that's basically the platform is, and you can see like it has end-to-end data science lifecycle management, right from building, right from auto ML. This is our auto ML, like where you throw the data set in, and you also have the designer in here. Now, do I have to do it in here? No, absolutely no. You can also do it here. And you can also come back and say like, oh, well, I'm sick and tired of your GUI. Okay, fine. Use your own editor. You can download the Python SDK, and you can actually build everything that you saw over there in here as well. Now, this code, save that code in the GitHub repo so you can enable the CI/CD. Does that make sense? Does it all come together? Yes? No? Maybe? Wow, quiet audience. Okay, so basically, let's go back now to the next level.
Yeah.
So that's basically what the machine learning platform is all about. I mean, this,
Bala,
yep.
Bala, I think one thing I'm finding interesting, there's a lot of detail there, but
Mm-hmm.
the other thing I think is relevant is that this is an incredibly powerful tool that's relatively easily manageable. And even if you're not a Python developer at a small organization, doesn't have a big development staff, you can still take advantage of these Microsoft capabilities and powering your applications. Another thing maybe you can comment in, because I hear this a lot from end users, they like knowing about these AI and ML capabilities, which drive things like bots. And people are interested in at least knowing more about these capabilities or how to get them working, because they might use different apps for like help desk calls or onboarding new employees or responding to customers or partners on websites. And I've seen a fair number of people really wanting to use the Microsoft platform in multiple ways so they don't have to use a multitude of vendors who all have a different way of doing things, but they can almost standardize on Microsoft ML applications to power AI across multiple departments. It just makes their life much easier. Do you see that as well?
Yes, a lot. The next two topics will be addressing what you're talking about.
Okay.
So usually in AI, there is this three domains, actually two domains. One is the custom domain, which means it's not pre-built. You have a unique situation and you want to build your own IP kind of scenario. And then there is the other one, which is the existing AI, and how can I take that and build application like call center or anomaly detection or sentiment analysis, or build a nice search capability and stuff like that. We'll walk you guys through that. Okay. So the other few other things that we concentrate on is like figuring out what is the fairness, and how do we actually figure out, explain the AI model, the black box itself. That is also is available in the thing. There are a lot of research in that area is also going in to figure out like how, like the TensorFlow, like the tree and how it travels, kind of like that. They're looking for other models as well. So those are all going to come. Now let's talk about this next pillar, which is the AI apps and agent. This is a very interesting pillar for me, because we have about like, we have put a lot of money into it. There is like about so many cognitive services. I'll show you a list of what it is. And then the one that Ron was actually talking about, the bot service. Bot service is the next generation conversational platform. Now, before I get into this, like, okay, can we have the question and answers in the later, Ron, or
Yeah,
do you?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Well, I thought just to let you know that everyone's listening, especially me.
Absolutely. Please, if you have any thoughts, please put it on the chat as well. So let's talk about cognitive services, right? Cognitive services are pre-built AI. This IP is completely managed by Microsoft, us. But we have on these five different categories. Especially decision is very new, And there is form recognizer that is new that I'll just show you real quick. In decision, we are using reinforcement learning. And you can see all the APIs in here. These are all like anomaly detector, content moderator. The personalizer, anomaly detector are brand new. Speech to text, text to speech, these are all a little bit older. You have vision, you have like the computer vision. Custom vision is extremely popular because you can customize. You can take your own pictures and you can do object detection model by using a website. You don't have to code anything. You can just draw boxes and tell the model to train, and it will enable a REST API for you. Face, of course, most everybody will know. Form recognizer is something brand new. This form recognizer is extremely useful if you're looking at automating, especially the RPA process, the robot process automation. If some, say, for example, an insurance company, someone fills up the form, handwritten form, you want to convert that and you want it to run through a flow to make sure that that flow, that claim is valid, or is the claim needs to be approved. You can actually take a picture of the form recognizer will convert it electronically, it will give you the data point, then you can use like logic apps and things like that to orchestrate a flow and actually finally figure out like, okay, will this be approved or not, kind of. You can do a whole workflow. Now workflow can be done using logic apps, which is more of a little bit programmatic way. We also have introduced the Power Automate platform, which is extremely anybody can do. It's more for citizen developers. Very easy to use, codeless developing strategy. That's what that follows. And then, of course, we have the Bing, the language understanding. In the language section, Q&A Maker is very popular. That's for like our FAQs and things like that. The Q&A Maker is also now comes with a bot framework. So you can actually make it a much chattable interface. There is Lewis, which is a language understanding, which is the most popular out of everything. You can customize your own languages and you can customize to your own business needs. It's like amazing. Now that is an overall very high level. We can go deep dive in another session, but like for now, I'm going to give you a little bit breakdown on our conversational platform, what we have, right? So we are working on the Power Virtual Agents, which is based out of the Power Platform, which allows you to easily build your own. It could be a Q&A bot, it could be a call center bot, it could be like a form application, it could be a field service based application, or it could be your own processing. Like you want to check your email, and if some attachment comes in and you wanted to change that, view the attachment and see what is inside the attachment. It could be an invoice processing, it could be a claims processing, anything like that. And then we also have all our platforms integrated with Teams and Cortana, so you can also talk to it, right? Like you can build a bot, and the bot does not have to be a chat. You can interface that with. We've been interfacing this with like WhatsApp and Teams and Skype and Facebook, and there are like so many connectors available. And with this chatbot interface and virtual agent, we also give you the option to integrate it with all our pre-trained AI cognitive services model. And we also have like the all of these virtual agents as open source template that you can take it and reuse it. Templates are available in C# and Node.js. These are extremely very useful for you to quick start and get it up and running. Bot service is our underlying platform that it runs, and the bot framework is also being open sourced for you guys. So now let's look at some common apps and agent scenarios. What Ron was talking about. RPA is the current buzzword in the industry right now. It's basically automating the process. A lot of people would also know what is called BPA. It's basically, but what we are doing is like you can actually use the AI to automate it much better and make it more reproducible, and it can learn by itself. And you can also see the customer list in the bottom, like who are all consuming it. Personalization is built on reinforcement learning. This is extremely useful for like if you want to say like I wanted to show customer related item. I wanted to give him options what based on what he has bought before. things like that. Object detection, at this point of time in COVID, it's extremely used. Like for example, you can identify if the people are wearing masks, if the doctors are wearing, the healthcare workers are protected by the gloves and the coats, and they're protected or not. Like you can do things like that. But the object detection extremely used in manufacturing with so many use cases for quality, safety, workplace safety, and things like that. Intelligent customer support. That's another area where the Power Virtual Agent is extremely used. Sentiment analysis get usually attached to the intelligent customer support, because any customer support that you want to do, you basically want to know how the customer is feeling, so the agent can be proactively respond and make things better. Now all these are being consumed in, you can see only a very few list of customers here, but there is a huge list that this has been available for the past 4 years, by the way. Here is a definition of what we can do with the RPA. Basically a flow that tells you a receipt comes in. We can use functions, and then we can use the form recognizer to get the details, store it in the database to report it, or we can enable a workflow. Um, and then here is how a customer intelligent support would work. It's either through calls. You can use our cognitive services to convert the voice to text, and then you can do the text analytics to split all the entities, sentiment analysis, and the intent. If you can use the Lewis to find the intent of what you need to do, and then either you can actually process that, store them, or do so many different workflow processing based on that. That's basically the middle pillar. Now let's get into the last pillar. Ron, how are we doing on time? We okay? We have what,
Uh,
5 minutes?
yeah, 5-7 minutes. Yeah, great.
So knowledge mining is a combination of Elasticsearch or any generic concept search with adding more of intelligence. So you can see in the bottom, this is a regular keyword search, right? And then it came contextual searches, which had some meaning to it. Now, the new way of doing it is called cognitive search, which means this is powered by AI. Um, we have it as fully managed, and you can also customize it, but it also uses our AI in our cognitive services, which we consider it as a custom skill. So what happens, you can ingest data, which is, you can be PDF, images, video, or text files, or it could be from databases, or it could be from Twitter, anything. And then you can enrich that. If it is a PDF, you can say, tell the OCR to read the content, and then find out the language, use the language detection to find out is there any action that you need to take, or you just have to save. You can then do like keyword extraction, which is very interesting topic, because I wanted to document all these documents in certain keywords, so that I can actually pull it by searching it, right? And do that. And translation, there is also PII translator here. It can also detect PII information and tell you, like, and you can, if you find a PII, then you can orchestrate a mechanism saying, okay, go do something about it, or alert it, or encrypt it, something like that. And then it can actually be documented. It's basically a search, which you guys probably know. It's an index-based search. And this gets exposed as an API, which we can integrate it in any basically a website or a mobile app, whichever you wanted to. So let's talk about common knowledge mining scenarios that we have seen. Especially, we have used this a lot in auditing and compliances. I can send you guys demos if you're interested in technical content review, customer feedback analysis. Like, not only feedback, we also can use it for like surveys and things like that. Digital asset management, process management, catalog search. And the new one is like, if you're an engineering company, and if you want to search for like manuals and drawings and things like that, they're also using it. And you can see some of the companies which are already been with us, and they've been using all those things in production. Um, Here's more details on how it can be done. I mean, I know we don't have much of time, so I'm going to just when Ron can actually send the deck for you guys. So we have, we can see that what we are doing in AI space, right? But we also have the responsibility to make sure that the AI is being safe and AI is being secure. So we do actually take huge responsible on that, and we are trying to build um, AI principles. This is available in the website right now to address all the fairness and transparency and accountability. And not only that, we are taking that principles, and we are also using it internally to build all our cognitive services and things, cognitive services AI. So the principles are also available for you guys. Please go look at it and try and see. If there is anything missing, let us know. We would like to hear your feedback. And it's basically like we build everything based on feedbacks. And then we have guidelines for what we need to do, guidelines for human-based designs. And our tools that we are looking at is to, like, how do we do homomorphic encryption? Interpret ML is basically explaining it, differential privacy, the data drift, which I spoke about. Data drift is a very interesting concept. When as the model is running, if the model performance is degrading because of the data, it has the capability to alert. We added a new feature in the portal where if it drifts, it can actually trigger an event grid event, and then you can actually automate the retraining process too. And then a few on secure MPC as well. Now, not only that, we are also looking at AI in a more holistic way, making sure that we are doing AI is also getting used in the right places and for the right reasons, right? You can see all these AI for accessibility. I can send you guys videos on what we are doing. AI for Earth, especially. We just added AI for health, and there are a lot of effort going in there as well. Now, you can skip this. So let me stop here. We are almost to the time. So this is what Azure AI is all about. So you can see so many options in platform. And if you guys need any help, here is the list of customers who are using. Please reach out to us. And I do have if you want to try out ML Ops, I have an open source lab with a data set. That's not built by any means built to be a valid data set that you can do great modeling on, but it's used as a sample data set for you to try out the machine learning operations, how it works.